This is how I knew that things are going to work out for me. This is how I know. It's because I always get this feeling that no matter how bad shit gets or how weird or uncomfortable or adverse things get, I still have this feeling that I'm going to make it. And this is something that comes in waves. This is something that comes and goes. But every now and then there's this feeling of confidence that pops up within me. And it's not something that, like, I'm not confident every day. I'm not always feeling tip top shape. I'm not always feeling at 100%. And I don't know too many people who are. But if you never get the feeling that everything, every single thing is going to work out for you ever, and that's a sure sign that you probably need to change a little bit of your thinking and get rid of some things. Like, for example, I had the feeling that I was losing a lot of connection with myself. I was losing a lot of connection with God. I was losing I was losing my way, if that makes sense. And I realized that I had to cut out some things in my life. I had to cut out some distractions. I had to cut out some things that were disturbing the connection between me and my purpose, disturbing the connection between me and God. And one of those things that I had to cut out was actually listening to music. And I think it happened like this. I'm going to tell you a story. I think it happened like this on purpose. Um, for over 4 or 5 years now, I've been using my brother's Spotify. And he's going through some things to where, he was paying for the Spotify account, and I was just, piggybacking off my brother because he was like, yo, you can just use this shit. So I was like, fuck it. And a couple weeks ago, you know, the Spotify account went down for, payments or whatever, couldn't make the payments. And right before that happened, I was just writing to myself in my journal, like I was complaining to myself, writing these notes to myself that I can't focus. I have so many distractions. I can't hear myself think. All I would hear is other people's thoughts, and the other people's thoughts were the music that I was listening to. If you think about music, it's such an, I don't want to say evil. It's such a weird thing because it distracts you and it numbs you to so much, because you're sitting there and you're listening, you're literally listening to someone else's thoughts that they put on record for you to listen to. It's almost it's super close to mind control. And when you don't have the inner voice anymore of yourself, you can't check yourself when it needs checking, right? So I don't know if it was by luck or by design or God was just coming down to protect me, but if I would have never realized that the music was just kind of taking control, taking over, and just kind of like making my mind numb, I would have probably never I would have probably found a way to get the Spotify back, found a way to get more music back in my mind, because that shit is so addictive. But at the same time, it's just so distracting to someone who is trying to build something so specific, someone who is trying to build a legacy, a business, new habits. Music can kind of destroy you. And so what I did was I said, fuck it. I don't need to listen to music anymore. I need to listen to myself. I need to listen to my own thoughts. I need to check my own thoughts and stand at the door of my mind, because I can't just let anything in anymore. And if you really think about it, that was such an unlock. For me, that was such an unlock. So what I did was I just deleted the Spotify app altogether, and I never really used Apple Music or anything like that. I never really used any other uh, streaming apps. So now I'm in this mode. I'm in this space where I'm looking for more things to delete from my life that are distracting me, because I realize that I'm easily distracted. I am so dopamine driven, and it's all this social media, it's all this music, it's all this, again, it all just boils down to just distractions. So here's the hard part about this. Now that all the distractions are gone, all of the noise is quiet. And when I finally sit with myself, this is where like the real work begins. This is where the hard part begins, is because now I have to vet my thoughts. Now I have to be conscious and aware of what I'm doing and how I'm spending my hours throughout the day. And for someone to, who hasn't, for someone who hasn't faced themselves and actually looked in the mirror and really, you know, took stock of their day, that's a scary thing to see how much time you actually waste. And when you actually look at that, you look at the raw data, and you come to terms with yourself about that data, that's the real slap in the face. Um, it's the real realization where you kind of get mad at yourself because you are kind of betraying yourself this whole time. And you, maybe some people spend like years and decades under that haze of listening to other people's thoughts outside of their own, and letting other people control their actions and their mind and their thoughts through music, through, watching sports teams, through, cult like activities. You got to realize that the only thing you should be listening to is yourself, and you should be listening to God, because God is within you. God is within everyone. And everything out here that's marketed to us has been marketed to us to destroy us and keep us under control. And I'm realizing that now at the age of 32. I had little inklings of realizing this a couple years ago, but now those thoughts that I had a couple years ago are really starting to take root, and I'm starting to take this shit a whole lot more seriously. I'm starting to take my attention and my energy, and I'm taking all of that a whole lot more seriously, because the last thing I want to do is get to the end of my life and have regrets that I didn't go out and try to become the best version of myself, regrets that I didn't try and go out to make a bunch of money so that I can buy my freedom back, so I can buy my mind back, because all of this shit is for sale. Like, your attention is for sale, your well-being is for sale. All of this shit, somebody's trying to buy you. And through like programming, through all kind of shit. And I know I'm getting kind of woo-woo on this shit, but once you actually sit down and you meditate and you think on all the shit that you've been doing, this shit stops sounding like woo-woo and starts sounding like the fucking truth. That's a big thing. Truth is huge, because, bro, basically what I realized is, like, sports, TV, music, all of this stuff is built to distract you from the truth. It's built to numb you from what you actually feel, and it's built to distract you from the fact that one day that you're gonna die. And the day that the day or the moments before your death is sometimes, that's the only place where some people see the truth and they see the realization that they've been wasting their life, their energy, their time on meaningless things. And bro, that's my biggest fear, is trying to avoid meaningless stuff. Ooh, avoiding meaningless stuff is my number one goal. Of wasting my potential is what I fear most. Wasting time, because I know that time is not infinite. And I realized this after my dad died, that time is not infinite. And I realized that my dad probably had a whole lot of regrets. Towards the end of his life, he couldn't even speak. He couldn't even bathe himself. He couldn't even feed himself. He had to wear a diaper. Bro, and when I tell you that shit broke my heart, I had to clean him. I had to feed him. I had to bathe him. I had to replace his diaper. Imagine doing that for a man who raised you his whole life. A man who gave everything to you his whole life. And he did nothing but love his kids. But at the back end of his life, he was basically a vegetable. And I think God put that in my radius, and God made me see that specifically because I have this higher level of empathy, this higher level of stepping back and viewing things from a higher point of view. And I've always been like that since I was a kid. But God put my dad in my life at the end of his life, and he made me go to Jamaica. He made me go and take care of my dad for 3 weeks to make sure that I saw what I didn't want to become. Because I believe God has a plan for me. God has a plan for us all. And I believe that you can, when you control your thoughts and you visualize exactly what you want, God will put you in position to warn you, or to make your hand stronger, to make your soul stronger. He will put you in position to see things that need to be seen for you to actually achieve what you want and level up. And I think that's the reason God showed me my dad that way, as a warning. That's why I take fitness so fucking seriously. That's why I take food so fucking seriously. That's why this is my passion. My passion is mindset. My passion is leveling up your character. My passion is becoming the version of myself and helping other people become versions of themselves that they didn't even know existed. That's the reason. That's my reason. That's my meaningful work. It's to show, it's to teach, it's to coach, right? It's to make money, because that's a big part of this life. And I remember when I used to deny money, I used to deny the importance. I used to think, oh, I'll just do it for the love of the game. But no, if you don't have money, you don't have influence. If you don't have influence, you can't help anybody. If you have positive in your heart, if you have love in your heart, there's so much wicked out there working against you that you need to do battle with wickedness, and you need to fight fire with hotter fire. Okay? So that's just where I'm at right now. And I think people just need to see the truth. And people need to face reality, face the facts. Cut out all the distractions. You only have a little bit of time left. It's limited. You don't know how much time you have left, so you have to act like you only have a little. Every day, just do battle every single day. Do battle every single day and win the day. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. All you have is today.